Now, here's the part that most people don't talk about enough. You don't just fall, you rebuild, but you rebuild different, more grounded, more intentional, more aligned with purpose, not popularity, by the way. And you start choosing silence over performance, depth over the noise, calling over clout. Welcome to Homefront Battles, where spiritual warfare meets everyday life in your thoughts, in your habits, in your home. And we're here to expose the enemy, equip the warrior, and take back what's ours. I am Jason, and welcome. You ever notice how quick people are to point out when you fell and fail, right? They say things like, wow, so sad to see like this, right? Or they'll say things like, man, what happened to you? Or I thought you were doing better than that. But what they don't realize is falling isn't failure. Not when you understand what happens beneath the surface, not when you know what God can do with broken things, and certainly not when you know who you really are. Falling is a divine classroom. And in this culture where appearance is everything, especially on social media, where strength is posed and perfection is filtered, people forget falling is it's part of becoming. You don't grow roots on the mountain, you grow roots in the valley. You don't develop character in applause, you develop it in isolation. And you don't find your calling when you're coasting, you find it when everything's been stripped down. And all you have left is the voice that called you in the first place. Now, I'm going to be very blunt here for a moment. If you haven't fallen yet, just wait. It's going to happen. Life will bring you down to your knees, and when it does, it won't be to destroy you. It'll be to awaken something deeper inside of you. See, Deuteronomy 8, verse 2 says, "Remember how the Lord your God led you all the way in the wilderness these 40 years to humble and test you in order to know what is in your heart." See, God led them into the wilderness, not by accident, not as punishment, but for preparation. The wilderness is not where you die. It's where your false self dies. It's where your pride and your illusions and your image are burned away, so your real identity can rise. Falling humbles you, but humility is not humiliation. Very important to understand that difference. It's alignment, it's clarity, it's an invitation into the truth. See, we spend so much time trying to look strong, trying to impress people who don't even know us, who we'll never even see again, who don't even matter, living for likes, living for applause, trying to get that validation. But the truth is, pretend strength will always crack under pressure. I want you to hear that, and I want you to write it down. Remember it, whatever you got to do. Pretend strength will always crack under real pressure. Real strength isn't loud. It's not perfect. It's not polished. Real strength is built through struggle. The Stoic philosopher Seneca once said, "Difficulties strengthen the mind as labor does the body." So, in other words, the storm doesn't come to shame you, it comes to strengthen you. But if you're too busy trying to avoid the fall, you'll never gain the muscle. You'll never get stronger. If you're obsessed with maintaining an image, I got news for you, ladies and gentlemen. You'll never cultivate the soul. Point blank. Now, if this message is resonating with you, if you've ever fallen and wondered whether God still can use you, I want to invite you to do something simple. Subscribe to this channel, click the notification bell, and share this with somebody who needs it, because most people do. Again, we're not just a platform. We're here to rise. Now, when you fall, you get acquainted with the ground very well, and the ground teaches you something that the crowd never will. Well, Jason, what are you talking about? The ground teaches you something. It teaches you how weak you are. how much you need God, how shallow your ego really was, how flimsy your plan was without His presence in it. See, Proverbs 24, verse 16 says the righteous fall 7 times and rise again. How many times? Not once, but 7 times. And what makes them righteous is not that they never fall, it's that they keep getting back up. Every time. Wiser, tougher, and more refined. Because you can't rise in strength until you've fallen in surrender. Falling introduces you to a version of yourself that only adversity can bring out. Now, here's the part that most people don't talk about enough. You don't just fall, you rebuild. But you rebuild different, more grounded, more intentional, more aligned with purpose, not popularity, by the way. And you start choosing silence over performance, depth over the noise, calling over clout. Because when you've been broken, you no longer crave applause. You crave authenticity. You no longer ask, will this make me look good? You start asking questions like, will this make me whole? James 1, verse 2 through 4 says, count it all joy when you face trials of many kinds, because the testing of your faith produces perseverance, so that you may be mature and complete, lacking in nothing. Falling matures you. It completes you. It strips away the fake so God can build the faithful. And look, I'm going to be completely honest and transparent with you. The ones I really worry about are the ones who never do fall. Those are the people that I worry about the most, the ones who don't fall. The ones who live so carefully, so image conscious, so risk averse that they never move. They're immobile. They're stationary. They never leap. They never risk the heartbreak. They never challenge their comfort. They've mistaken safety for salvation. They're not flying. They're just floating. And let me tell you something. Floating isn't freedom. It's fear in disguise. Better to fall while following God than to remain upright while living dead. That means you're human. You're a man or you're a woman, right? That means you gave it your best, your all. That means you're in motion. But don't stay down. Don't wallow in your shame, because if you fall with God, you're going to rise with power. Power doesn't need validation. Power that isn't shaken by whispers. Power that isn't rooted in image, but in identity. God does His greatest work in the dirt. We all know that. Think about Jesus for a moment. He fell on the way to the cross. He collapsed under the weight of it. And yet in His falling, He fulfilled destiny. Imagine that. So who are you to be ashamed of falling? I mean, really ask yourself that question. Let the crowd talk. Let the critics speculate. Let the surface level thinkers pity you. They see a fall, but heaven sees a forge. And when you rise again, you won't just be standing, you'll be anchored. You'll be commissioned. You'll be unstoppable. So fall if you have to. It's a must. Fall forward. Fall humbly, but fall boldly. Because in the kingdom of God, the fall is never the end. It's the furnace of becoming, and the ones who fall with faith are the ones who rise with fire. God bless, and we'll see you back here next time.